It's the Roaring '20s. You're a young woman with new rights like being able to vote, prohibition is in full swing, and there's jazz music in the air, and you're looking to make some money. Where might you go to be able to make money during this time? Well, a few places that hired women and paid well were the United States Radium Corporation plant in Orange, New Jersey, the Radium Dial Company in Ottawa, Illinois, and the Waterbury Clock Company in Waterbury, Connecticut. Although the money was good for the time, it came with a deadly price. Hello and welcome back to the Odds and Events podcast, unraveling the odd, investigating the eventful. I'm your host, Lainey Langenberg, with my co-hosts, Allie.
Hello.
Chris.
Hello there.
And Dalton.
Hey, how's it going?
And we're going to be talking about the Radium Girls. Have any of you guys ever heard of the Radium Girls or know what radium even is?
Yes.
I have, but I don't know a lot of the details.
And I'll be the person that has no idea.
Okay, do you actually have no
yeah,
idea?
I have no idea.
Oh, wow. Okay, wait, I'm shocked. All right, well, this is great.
The men not knowing the history of women?
That's okay. I will be here to guide you through history.
Yay!
I always say, I'm a historian. I have a degree, but I feel like I need a badge or something that, will allow me to go into museums or, libraries and just, show it and be like, official historian business here, please let me see and touch everything.
It's a good thing I have a 30-day return policy on that time machine I bought on Amazon.
But before we start today, I just want to take a moment to introduce our sources for today. The United States Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the Science Group Museum, the Library of Congress blog, the Smithsonian Magazine, and All Things Interesting. I'd also like to add a bit of a content warning here. This episode is a bit more graphic than other episodes, so please listen with caution if talking about illnesses, poisoning, and human body parts is triggering. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So first, what is radium? Radium is a radioactive substance found in nature. Radium is produced by the radioactive decay of uranium. Radium-226 is an element discovered by Pierre and Marie Curie, that's such a fun name to say, I was just trying so hard to say it right, in 1898. As a radioactive element, it produces radiation. Radiation is caused by the disintegration of atoms and comes in three main forms, alpha, beta, and gamma. The intensity of radiation from radioactive materials decreases over time. The time required for the intensity to decrease by 1/2 is referred to as the half-life. I'm sure, we've all kind of heard about this in science especially, I would say. You've all heard about, half-life stuff.
Absolutely. I actually loved science class in school, so.
I kind of liked science.
Yeah, but Lainey, you're missing the most important part of radium.
Okay, well, also, so the half-life of radium is approximately 1,600 years.
1,600? So,
yeah. So we're all
for
going
it
to be dead. So
you
don't have to worry about it.
This is why you don't want to mess with this stuff.
No. Don't worry about it.
I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you don't know what a half-life is the time required for a quantity of a substance to reduce to half its initial value. The term is commonly used in nuclear physics to describe how quickly unstable atoms undergo radioactive decay or how long stable atoms survive. The term is also used more generally to categorize any type of exponential decay. For example, the medical sciences refer to biological half-lives of drugs and other chemicals. So the half-life of a drug, how long it's in your body kind of a thing. That's where we, in everyday life, are probably going to hear it more often because I don't think any of us are nuclear physicists, right?
I mean,
are you allowed to say?
I don't need to answer that question.
Right.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I think you're the only one here that's not Lainey.
Oh. What?
Right. Shoot.
You guys, nobody was going to tell me this?
We took summer classes together.
Oh.
We just thought it'd be a fun surprise for you.
Well, I want to be a nuclear physicist. Oh.
My grandparents were nuclear physicists.
Wow.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they worked with Albert.
Jeez.
No, they did not.
Yeah, and then they bombed my other family.
Oh my god. I love that you just kind of dropped this, insane lore of yourself.
Well, her family dropped more before that, so.
Oh, they dropped
my
money.
Oh my god.
Some might say
Okay.
2.
Oh, God.
Which was twice as much that was needed.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Oh my god. Okay.
Radium.
And again... Okay. Okay. Whew.
Don't worry,
This is
I'm
gonna
an
be a fun
expert
one
on
to
this
get
stuff. I
through.
got some of it in my genetic DNA.
Oh my god. Okay. Okay, and I think in general, most people know, at least in the 21st century that is, if something is radioactive, like, we should stay away from it. Granted, we do use radiation for things like x-rays and cancer treatments, but with things like x-rays, you wear a lead jacket or whatever else to cover yourself so you don't have to, like, expose all of yourself to the x-rays, only the part that, like, needs an x-raying if you broke a bone. Now, I want to show you guys a picture of what happens with repeated unprotected exposures to x-rays. And I know this is an audio medium, but you can look at these pictures in our Discord, which there is a link in the show notes, so you can come join and look at this disgusting picture. It's pretty gnarly.
And in the meantime, I'll describe it.
Oh.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
God. It's hideous. The fingers. The wrinkles. There's so many
So,
freckles.
this is the hand of Clarence Daly. He is the assistant to Thomas Edison in the 1890s. Edison had received news of the new X-ray invention and got to work with his own experiments, and Daly was eager to help him. Which, first of all, I do need to derail this before we continue talking about this disgusting hand. I have such a disdain for Thomas Edison. I will be covering him in the future. I think this guy is a wackadoo. I don't like him.
Cough, cough, thief. Cough, cough.
He is a thief. He is a ne'er-do-well, I believe. And I feel very strongly about that, but I
He
digress.
sounds like a real stand-up
Daly-
guy.
Yeah, and he stinks.
He probably did stink, but whatever. Daly exposed his hand to hours of radiation for science, and it ultimately took his life. And everybody kind of... Again, gruesome warning here. Gruesome warning, flashing lights, it's icky. We're going to be describing this hand. What does this hand look like to you guys?
It looks like my hand, so should I be worried?
You might want to go to the doctor.
I am concerned about the either blackened around the around the edges or missing fingernails.
Yes, that is his exposed bone.
Yeah.
That's his
yeah.
exposed bone.
Especially the middle finger. His bone is
Yeah.
just
And
exposed
then his,
there.
Yeah,
his
it looks
ring
like the-
finger.
Finger decided to just not be a finger anymore and want to be
Yeah.
bone.
I think I could fix him.
Yes, thumb is all right.
He kind of literally looks like how you would picture every man when you see that one friend who has really bad luck with relationships, and she always goes after the, quote, bad boys, and they always end up leaving her in a worse state. And you just see her walking through the mall. You know, you went with her to get some ice cream or...
Bath and
get
Body
your nails
Works.
done.
Yeah.
Bath and Body Works. You're having a girls' day, and all of a sudden she sees someone and she's telling you, I could fix him.
Right.
You know that guy.
if you-
It looks like that guy.
This guy looks like he could be a mechanic.
You know what also it reminds me of? Like a really bad version of like my hands look like this, so hers can look like this. Like
Oh, that
photo.
meme. Yeah.
Yeah, but like times that by maybe 15, 20.
Yeah, so I kind of took it as this to me essentially looks like what I would assume a zombie's hand looks like. Like, if this was in The Walking Dead, I feel like we'd be like, bravo, like, give the makeup artist an award.
I mean, the guy's dead, so it's pretty
Yeah,
fitting.
it's really close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fingernails are either black or completely gone with bone exposed. The skin is literally being eaten away, and it's nasty. I definitely would not want that hand. I'm so sorry to that assistant. So, now that I've kind of...
He chose that life.
Yeah.
I will
I mean,
say
he
is
actually
a-
did,
oh,
apparently,
he
like-
is a boss. He's just like basically like, hey, let's do this experimental thing, and I have no idea what's going to happen to me.
I mean, we do thank him for his contributions to science. Thank you, Mr. Daly. Now that I've kind of covered a bit about radiation in general, let's get back to the main topic for today. So going a little bit back in time with the outbreak of the First World War, wristwatches become very important for men out on the battlefields. Which, interestingly enough, before World War I, wristwatches were mainly worn by women, and they were more of a fashion statement than something used to tell time. Because
They
men...
were sexy.
Yeah, I guess. Men were using pocket watches, basically, instead, but obviously a pocket watch was not really practical to be using in the trenches, so the men started to adopt wearing wristwatches. I am trying so hard not to, say wristwatches, because I don't know why. No, it's because I purposely will, like, say that. So now it's unironically happening, and I'm sad.
You
So,
have destroyed your own vocabulary. I'm so sorry.
wrist watches. Okay, and God, how many more times am I gonna have to say it? Probably a lot. This whole episode is about wrist watches. Oh
You
my
could
God.
probably eventually just start saying watch.
I hope so. You know what? I'll try that.
There was something very important that needed to happen to these watches in order for them to work in the trenches, especially at war.
Men needed to be able to see the time if they had sensitive battles or pushing forward. One issue that arose is it's pretty hard to see a watch in the dark. Well, these men were in luck. Within the last 2 decades, radium had been discovered. And radium does not actually glow on its own, but when it's mixed with zinc sulfide, it creates a luminescent glow. So a paint was made for the numbers on watches to glow in the dark. And this was a great innovation. It doesn't sound so bad, right? Right, guys? This doesn't sound so bad.
No.
I mean, have you ever seen the radium that is covered on plates and silverware and stuff?
Yes.
Like, that stuff's beautiful.
It is beautiful, I'll say that. Well, you have to remember this is the early 1900s. Factories are still new, and most things are not automated yet. Almost everything is still done by hand at this point. So how were these teeny tiny numbers going to get this radium paint on them? Well, that's where the women's job came into play. Women were hired to hand paint all the numbers on watches with this radioactive paint. This doesn't sound so bad, but this is where the deadly issue comes into play. Women would have to suck on the tip of their paintbrushes to get the tip fine enough and pointed to get the cleanest paint job on the watches. So they were directly ingesting a radioactive substance daily. And I might add, unknowingly doing this. They were never made aware of any life-threatening risk, which also leads me wanting to cover workplace conditions were like in the 20th century in a future episode, and why regulations and standards are so important. And this is a great, testament to that. As we go on, you'll see.
But I feel like it's understandable because, people don't realize what they're putting in their bodies. They don't realize what they're doing like that. So, like, yeah, they could have just, I don't know, eaten a New York hot dog at the time and been the exact same thing. So
I mean, okay, so yes, hindsight is 20/20. So I think at first, it's not a big deal, and I go back and forth on this because there's some evidence to suggest that there was knowledge that this was bad for you, and it doesn't exactly go public. So
Oh, no, there was.
yeah.
The people higher up knew exactly what they were doing when they were
Yeah.
teaching the girls the lip dip paint technique. Because
Yeah.
the other part of it, these women weren't just like doing a couple watches. Like, they
Oh,
were
no.
required to complete 250 dials every single day.
How did I not know this? Why did this not come up in my research?
The best part is they only earned a penny and a half for each one of them. So
You're
if they
joking.
wanted to make, if they wanted to make $3 a day, they had to make those 250, and every single one of them, because of the dials, needed to have it lip dip paint.
Oh my God. And then, this kind of makes me think over time we learn things, just from science, and as time goes on we learn things that some things are super harmful to us, like mercury and asbestos. Do you think there's something we are regularly using right now that we'll eventually find out is super bad for us?
yes, 100%.
Oh, 100%.
Plastic.
And-
It's plastic. I know it's plastic.
but also, like, these women weren't ignorant. They weren't just like, okay, I'm going to do this. Like, they kept on asking their managers and stuff, like,
we're getting
is
to
this
it.
safe?
Yeah, we're getting to it. Don't you worry.
Yeah, in fact,
But yeah, plastic for me. I think that is probably really, really bad for us.
Honestly, I think we recently discovered aspartame. Aspartame was pretty bad. In fact,
I don't want to
Yeah.
know that, because do you know how much aspartame I consume?
I mean,
Also, red dye.
red dye is pretty bad.
Red dye,
Don't.
I think
say
it's going to be
caffeine.
something
Don't say
super,
caffeine.
super surprising. It's going to be like rubber ducks or like,
Something. I don't know, man.
or the mirror. I don't know.
The mirror looking in the mirror.
It's going to be cotton. Turns out cotton's super
Right,
deadly to
yeah.
us.
That would be
That's
really
what's
bad.
killing us.
And then, so this kind of leads me to my next point in the story. So the general population didn't know radium was bad for you. In fact, people thought it was great for you. People were using radium in things like it was going out of style. When Marie and Pierre Curie discovered radium in 1898, it was soon viewed as a wondrous and powerful element, a cure for cancer that was, like to get rid of tumors and such. And how to get rid of cancer with radiation is this. When the rays pass through a person, it causes the ionization. This is when radiation removes electrons from atoms, transforming them into positively charged ions. This disrupts the chemical equilibrium of a cell and can cause cell death. The cell that divides quickly, like cancerous tumors, are affected by this at a faster rate, so they're eliminated before healthy cells are damaged. Granted, some healthy cells are still going to die because it's just straight radiation to you,
In theory. Well, so pretty much the way that chemotherapy works is there are different types of chemotherapy, but every single one of them follows the same general principle. Hopefully, we kill the cancer before we kill you.
Especially this early stuff, they're just full send blasting you. Because I'm sure it's gotten a lot better and, less harmful.
No.
Oh my god, no, it's not. It's still just doing the same
thing? So radiation as a whole is still the exact same general principle. The whole idea is we use different levels to, once again, kill the cancer before we kill you.
Oh my god.
If all of a sudden it is discovered during your chemo treatments that we are killing you faster than we are killing the cancer, we switch chemotherapy methods to then try to see if, okay, will this kill your cancer before we kill you?
Jeez.
And it's genuinely that process of trial and error.
Fun fact as well about cancer is that, everyone has cancer cells within their body.
Yeah.
Because all that, cancer is basically, a defect cell replication.
Okay.
So we all have it, and it's all about having, low amounts of cancer in us. And so even when you use chemotherapy and things of that nature, like radiation, to kill it, doctors are really only aiming to bring the cancer back down to acceptable levels, which can always have a remission, and get back up to oopsies.
Oh my god. This, you know what? Maybe I should have thought about this a little bit better when I was talking about this, because I have health anxiety.
Oopsies.
Oh no.
If you want, I can take over, because I know a lot about the Radium girls.
I'm okay right now.
Tragic.
It's horrific. It's so tragic, and I'm very upset.
The entire story is literally a thing where men said, we value money more than we value women.
Yeah.
No, literally.
Yeah.
It is that. Okay. So, radium use was also considered good for vitality and beauty. So, where could you find radium after its discovery? Well, let me tell you. Shoe cleaner, hair dye, jewelry, face creams, makeup, soap, and even water. I'd like to take a second to read this ad for radium-infused water. And I'd also like to point out that companies would truly advertise things as radioactive as a selling point. The general population seriously thought this stuff was good for you. So let me give you guys the picture. Okay, so looking at this, it says, radium emanation water drives out uric acid. Suffering from too much Or, wait, does somebody want to try reading this ad in 1920s?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Take it out. Allie, take it away.
Radium emanation water drives out uric acid. Suffering from too much uric acid and diseases caused by faulty elimination? Rheumatism, gout, periodical headaches, neuralgia, constipation, neuroasthenia, auto-intoxication and lack of bodily vigor? Quickly relieved in a natural way without drugs or chemicals by our new discovery. The way to make radium water in your own home. With our Rayode, a little device containing radium, enough to supply 2,700 Mach units of radioactivity in 2 quarts of water every 24 hours for less than 10 cents a day. Rayode will last a lifetime. Send for free literature. Tell us how you can buy or rent a Rayode to make radium water in your own home with your own ordinary drinking water.
Oh my god, that was so good.
Beautiful.
That was so good.
Well
please,
done.
Chris, please add some 1920s music behind that.
Will do.
Oh my god, what does lack of bodily vigor even mean?
It means
I'm pretty sure that means if you're impotent.
that.
Is that what that means?
In a sense.
I thought it meant just tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it just meant maybe you were feeling kind of
But I could
sleepy.
see impotent because in the 1920s they kind of danced around those subjects and were very
Yeah, everything was dependent on the penis.
Also, what the hell is 2,700 Mach units?
Well, what's a Mach unit?
Well,
I don't know. Are they? I'm
a
wondering.
pretend
I'm
unit?
genuinely curious.
Practice unit.
Well, listen, Lainey,
Okay.
I'm glad that you all asked. You see, a Mach unit at 2,700
Yeah.
is a big number. So therefore, you want it.
Oh, you're right. I do want it. Thanks for explaining. I want 3 of them now.
Oh my god.
I'll take 3 2,700 Mach units. Thank you.
When you think about it, though, every single day, these Radium girls are only making about 3 cents.
That's so crazy to me.
I looked up what a Mach unit was, and it's a unit of volumic radioactivity named for the Austrian physicist Heinrich Mach.
Okay.
It is defined as the quantity of radon, ignoring its daughter isotopes, in practice of radon, mostly radon-222, per liter of air, which ionizes at a sustained current of 0.001 ESU, which that's another unit.
Oh my god!
So
I'm like, this sounds like you are speaking another language. I couldn't tell you what any of that meant.
It's
but
a number
I believe you.
that measures things with more math that I could never do.
Listen.
But that's why this ad is perfect, because it is literally playing upon the idea that 2,700 is a big number. Therefore, you want it, because that makes you a bigger, better person than your neighbor.
Take that, Gary, and your precious green lawn.
But this also is helped by the ghost girl phenomenon that was happening because of the Radium girls.
What's the ghost girl phenomenon?
So, one of the most haunting aspects of the Radium girl story is how the radioactive substance would visibly affect their bodies. So, that radium dust would settle on their clothes, their hair, their skin, and cause them to literally glow in the dark. And that eerie luminescence earned them the nickname the Ghost Girls. And rather than recognizing that deadly glow that is something akin to the Fallout universe's glowing ones, they didn't view it as anything bad. In fact, they viewed it as an amusing novelty or even a beauty feature. So they would deliberately paint their fingernails, their teeth, and their faces to have that radiant effect when they went out dancing in the evening. So what they would do is they made the most of that perk of their work by wearing their good dresses to the plant. So they'd shine in a dance hall at night and even paint radium onto their teeth for a smile that would knock out their suitors.
So, to be fair, if you didn't know that it was bad for you, that is kind of cool.
I mean, if I didn't know, I'd be like, hell yeah.
Think of like blacklight parties, you know what I mean?
Well, because they were also asking their managers, is this safe for me to have on me? My body is glowing now. And their managers would say, yes, it is perfectly safe.
So, and I guess I do want to preface that I want to preface by saying radium was actually more widely used in cosmetics in Europe than in the United States, but it definitely was still used. With a little bit more knowledge, you can see how someone in the general public would think nothing of, like, sucking on radium all day, especially if their bosses are like, yeah, no, sweetheart, you're fine. Like, you know, you're just like, okay, I guess. And, women who painted the clock dials were told repeatedly by their boss that there was nothing to worry about, radium was good for your health. So every day they were, again, just consuming small amounts of radium at a time with each clock they're finishing. And just like Allie said, they're leaving their workplace and they are loving that they're glowing. They think it's so cool. And I'm sure they look beautiful.
They're stunning.
Wait, is that where the origin of, like, people say, oh my god, you look glowing?
You know, I'm actually not sure, but I could see it happening. We get a lot of the way we speak right now from the late 1880s into the early 20th century. So I could see it. It could be. I can't confirm.
That makes me wonder about the phrase, you look
Ooh, I didn't even think. It's gotta be. There's no freaking way. There's no way it's not.
Too big of a coincidence.
Like, honestly, though, like, look at radium silverware that used to come out during this era. Like, people still collect them, and it's beautiful. Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous.
And granted, so, like, if you collect that glass, it is fine. You should keep it, like, behind something. You should not be eating off of it. And that goes for everything vintage you're collecting. Assume anything you collect that is vintage and old is poisonous in some form or fashion, because more than likely it is. Like, I've been really into collecting old Victorian books, and I have to put them in bags right now because I don't have a nice place to display them safely, because they're all, if it's green, you know, it's arsenic, it's bad. Don't rest your face on it like I do accidentally sometimes when I'm working. I get so mad at myself when I do that. And wear proper PPE when you're dealing with things that can kill you, for the love of God. Anyway, sorry, that was my tangent. I work in history. I touch a lot of poisonous things.
I went deep diving, like,
Oh my god.
but the linguistics minor in me is like, I need to know if this is the true origin of this word or this phrase, because it's so interesting to me. And no,
Exactly.
it actually isn't
What?
around that time frame. In fact, it's actually
You're
a lot
joking.
earlier, because
What?
a radiant is actually, well, the root form of radiant was radiare or something similar in Latin,
In, like, Latin, yeah.
and it meant to literally glow. Or it meant to be bright. It meant to be lively. It meant to shine. So people
I'm
would
upset.
be radiant, and you would shine, and that was usually a sign
No,
of
you-
health.
You're wrong.
Oh.
I
You're right.
liked our explanation better.
Yeah, ours is better.
But now you too can be radiant with our new progressive element called radium.
So, I feel really bad for these women. And if you're aware of this story, you know what's to come. But at the time, this was great money for the women. If you were a paint dial painter, or,
If you were a
dial
paint dial,
painter-
you were having a great time.
if my grandmother had wheels, she would have been a bike. That's what that makes me think of.
Oh my gosh.
I love that clip. Sorry. If you were a dial painter, you were in the top 5% of earning females, averaging about $20 a week, which, according to the website Measuring Worth, says adjusted for today's inflation would be an average about $315 a week, which is still not good. Not great.
Yeah, but for a woman,
Yeah, sorry. We should be grateful.
Yeah.
And let's face it, again, this is a terrible wage. But for working class girls, this was a great deal and a great opportunity for making a decent living on their own.
A lot better than being a prostitute.
I mean, yeah, yes.
debatable.
I mean,
Safer.
we don't have like modern birth control and like STD prevention, so yes.
They didn't know what STDs
Fair.
were back then.
Sorry, it would be called venereal diseases, I believe, or communicable diseases at this point.
Well,
in
luckily,
time.
if somebody was lacking the bodily vigor, we have the
Yeah, just drink the water.
That bitch has the clap. Don't worry, just stuff her ass full of radium.
Oh my god. So, unfortunately, this job would come at the highest cost a human could pay. Their lives. And I'm gonna stop here for a second and just give another little content warning. It's about to get pretty gruesome, so if you don't want to hear about medical things, why did I write this when I don't want to hear about medical things?
All I can think
Oh my
is, you've
God.
already gotten this far. Let's just keep going.
I know, I already got this far, but like, what was I doing? Not having anxiety, apparently, this day when I wrote this.
Your best.
Anyways, I was doing my best.
Here, drink this
Okay.
water.
Oh no! Let me just slip around my water. So there's graphic descriptions, general gore, stop here if you don't want to hear it. So, starting in 1921, several of the dial painters who worked in Orange, New Jersey for the United States Radium Corporation started having strange illnesses. Their teeth would start aching and eventually literally just fall out. And first of all, this is like one of my worst nightmares. I don't know what it is. You ever have those dreams where like your teeth are falling out?
No.
Always.
I get them, and I don't know if I'm like a weirdo or something, but like I can feel things in my dreams. Like, not exactly pain, but I feel weird sensations, and apparently you're not supposed to, but here I am feeling stuff.
But these teeth weren't just like dying, like
Oh,
they
no,
had
no.
they like,
Yeah.
the holes were not healing.
Darn tootin', you're right. So, now as a result of their teeth falling out, they would have these open holes where the teeth were just not healing anymore. And abscesses would form, which if you've ever had any kind of mouth pain, it's like some excruciating pain. Or like if you've ever had a dry socket after losing a tooth or like having your tooth pulled, it hurts so bad. And mouth infections should be taken really seriously, as they can, that infection can get to your brain pretty fast. So along with their teeth falling out, and, the infections in their mouths, they're experiencing severe anemia. And according to the Mayo Clinic, anemia is a problem of not having enough healthy red blood cells or hemoglobin to carry oxygen to the body's tissues. Hemoglobin is a protein found in red cells that carry oxygen from the lungs to all other organs in the body. Having anemia can cause tiredness, weakness, and shortness of breath. Where are my anemics at? Hey!
But women already suffer from that. That's why they're the factory workers, right, Lainey?
Yeah! Anemics. Actually, I'm a special kind of anemic, and I'm an iron deficient anemic.
My mom is aplastic,
aplastic
anemia.
Is that the one that used to be called pernicious anemia?
I'm not sure.
But that's also a special type of anemia that used to be a death sentence. It's not anymore.
Yeah, well, my mom is, fun fact here, is an incredibly rare case. Like, she was supposed to not survive long enough for me to be born.
Well, look at you go.
I know. And she's still kicking. So
well,
I think she's
shout
gonna
out
outlive
to
me.
Chris's mom.
Yay!
Love you, Chris's mom. Love you, girl. And so guess what? I'm not even done with all the horrible things that are going to happen to these women.
No, in fact, some might say you just started.
You're right, I did. So not only do they have anemia, but their bones are becoming brittle too. And unfortunately, with all of this, necrosis is going to start to set in, especially in their jaws or wherever, that direct contact with this radium is happening. So their bodies are being starved of crucial things like oxygen and healthy blood cells. What they did not know is all of these things they were experiencing. Well, I think they were starting to know. All of these things were the effects of radiation poisoning from the paint. And
Lainey,
that
I
was
just
very
realized.
heavy. What?
You didn't mention the best part about what they were going through.
Okay, please do tell.
So not only did they have anemia, they had bone cancers, sarcomas, spinal compression, pathological fractures. Like, these women
What's a
would
pathological fracture?
So, I'm glad you asked. Have you ever enjoyed the act of walking?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Have you ever just decided to walk and then your bone in your leg quite literally just splinters into a million pieces and you're just fucked on the floor?
So it's different than a shin splint?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some might say their bodies were quite literally crumpling on them in their day-to-day lives. Want to pick up that spoon? Hope you enjoy breaking your wrist.
Is that?
Those
Oh,
poor
I wonder if
girls.
that's of inspiration for Glass.
The glass mate.
No,
there's
the
no
movie
glasses.
called Glass, or the character Glass.
Oh, perhaps. Who
Maybe.
knows?
My skin is made of paper and my bones are made of glass. That was quite literally what was happening to these women.
These poor girls.
They would just be existing, and all of a sudden, their bones would just fracture and splinter, and they would just be doing normal activities, and then their bones would just crumple to dust.
Ugh. I can't and I'm sure it's like worse than breaking a bone. I've only broken one bone in my life. It was my left big toe. I broke it so bad it stopped growing when I was in 6th grade, and I would not wish a broken bone on anybody.
You know what? And like, it's even sadder because, like, in that time period, not everyone, but I'm pretty sure there are plenty of like men in society were just all like, "Oh, you're just overreacting."
Oh,
'cause you're a
probably.
That's the best part.
Yeah.
So
We do have a bad rap for that, don't we?
the doctors
Apologize now.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, but also, you guys are.
I was gonna say, you're fired. Get out.
These women would go to the doctors, and the doctors would say, "You have syphilis or other sexually transmitted diseases."
Yeah.
So they were saying that these women are whores, and that's the reason why their bodies are falling apart, not the
I mean,
radium.
some of the doctors are being like, well, this is kind of suspicious. But again, the doctors also don't know. So they're like, it must be this thing or that thing. Or you're just, like, you're...
It can't be this healthy radium.
It can't be that. And I just can't imagine how scary this is for these women, too, if you think about it. Like, you have no idea, like, truly what is going on. And all you know is, like, you feel like shit all the time. You are actually literally dying. And nobody's helping you.
Because the executives and the scientists who worked for them We're still telling them that it was safe.
And I do want to just cycle back and share another very horrible picture of, did you ever want to know what it looks like if you drank a shit ton of radium? Again, really graphic, we're going to be describing this.
Ah, the good old radium jaw.
Yeah, so again, gruesome warning here, flashing red lights. This is a picture of a man named Eben Byers who drank a lot of radium water. And let me go ahead and describe this. He got no jaw. I mean, literally, it's gone. The bottom half of his mouth and down his throat, neck area is literally gone. It is decayed away. You know what? I'm gonna say drinking all that radium probably it didn't work that well.
No.
I mean, he looks like he's full of vigor, though.
I don't know, ma'am.
Look
But
at that sparkle
again,
in his cold dead eyes.
I think he would make an excellent Walking Dead zombie extra.
Why do I feel like this dude would have ended up, sadly, at, like, a circus? Like, why do
I could see that.
Why do I
I could
feel
absolutely
like
see that. This is a really, like, something in me, it's very hard to even, like, picture that this is real and it's not, like, not real. Like, it's not effects or something. That's how jarring it is.
No, it's not jarring. It's not jarring either.
Oh, no.
Some might say it's missing a jaw.
There you go.
Oh, my God. He just really thought that the radium water was the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't always believe everything that's advertised to us. But again, this is...
Be careful of health fads.
Yeah,
for
be
sure.
careful of health fads. So, starting to move forward in time here. It's 1922 now. And the first death of one of these women occurs. Amelia Magia? Do you know how to pronounce her name?
I always refer to her as Magia. But,
Magia?
Yeah.
That, I could see that. So Amelia Magia was a dial painter for 4 years between 1917 and 1921. She died at just age 25. She is super young. This was an avoidable death. And I'm very sorry for her. And I hope she's at peace now. So in the days leading up to her death, her dentist was literally able to lift and remove her entire lower jaw by hand. No surgical tools, no nothing. He literally just took it apart like it was meant to be taken off by hand. I'm getting the heebie-jeebies just saying this, because it's just so unnatural. Like, our body is not meant to be taken apart, among from, like, losing your baby teeth, you know?
Did you see what her official cause of death was on her
What
record?
was her official cause of death?
Syphilis.
Of course it was. Granted, now I will say, syphilis, you want to get that treated. Also really bad.
But her
Just
death
putting
was
it out
not
there.
caused by syphilis.
It was, yes, her death was not, in fact, caused by syphilis at all. And the next deaths in the following year would follow hers. Helen Quinlan, age 21. Irene Rudolph, age 22. They also worked as dial painters for 20 months and 2.5 years. So this was just so needless and tragic.
For each of those women, every single one of them, their official death was always put down as some form of sexually transmitted disease.
The main one being syphilis.
Yeah, because the companies were already doing
Spinning
like
it.
super aggressive campaigns to
Yes.
deny that it was radiation poisoning.
Yep. So by 1924, the remaining dial painters and their doctors began to suspect that maybe, just maybe, these bizarre illnesses were coming from their jobs. They then contacted the health and labor departments about their concerns. Now get this. Even after 3 investigations, not a single action was taken. And doesn't that just piss you off?
Actually, yes. I feel horrible knowing that. No, I'm not trying to downplay that either. That's messed up.
No, it's generally horrible. And so then they go to the Consumers League. It's a reform group representing women in the workforce, and they tried to advocate for these dial painters, but they were also ignored. And again, it's just frustration after frustration. It's like nobody is truly speaking out for them, or they're not being heard. And again, I think a huge part of this is because they're women, so they're not taken as seriously. I also think, again, it is really true. The rules are written in blood. Basically, for every health regulation, every rule that we have, there's a reason for it. And one or several people, most likely several people, died as a result to get that rule. And even in my research, I'm kind of like questioning myself, like, where is OSHA? Where's the FDA? Well, guess what? OSHA wasn't even created until 1971. 1971. Yay. That's absurd to me.
Well, we didn't care about how humans were treated until 1971. Duh.
And, since the Industrial Revolution, factories are popping up left and right, which is also an incredibly dangerous place to work, as there were literally no regulations. America was shifting from an agricultural society to a factory and production society, and going unchecked. The Library of Congress states the period from 1894 to 1915 was a period of change, unrest, and economic uncertainty for the workers of the United States. Industrialism was growing largely unchecked in the United States after the Civil War, creating new jobs and new problems simultaneously. The working conditions in factories were often harsh. Hours were long, typically 10 to 12 hours a day. Working conditions were frequently unsafe and led to deadly accidents. Tasks tended to be divided for efficiency's sake, which led to repetitive and monotonous work for employees. Also, I want to take a second. If you've ever never read, it's called The Jungle, please read that book. It's something I feel everybody should read when it comes to working conditions in the early 20th century. Also, don't eat while you read it. That's a big one. Do not eat. I mean, unless you want to challenge yourself.
Do it. Take it as a dare.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I'll do it.
It's pretty bad.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
What's the worst possible thing to eat while reading it?
Meat, yogurt.
Okay, meat.
Meat and yogurt.
Meat with yogurt on top.
Ew.
Got it.
Yeah.
Jeez, man.
And we can obviously...
No, that's not what I meant. I take it back.
And we can obviously see this with these dial workers. Their only job was to paint the numbers on the watches, and they had no idea that they were basically speedrunning their horrific deaths. The United States Radium Corporation, otherwise known as the USRC, the employer of the New Jersey dial painters, refused to take responsibility for these workers' illnesses. They insisted that radium was harmless and that the women's health problems were unrelated to their work. And they were having, again, like Ali said, these huge PR campaigns to say that, to silence them. They were falsely suggesting that these women were suffering from syphilis, a highly stigmatized sexually transmitted disease. And again, this is infuriating because not only, is that detrimental to people, but especially to women's reputations in that time period. And again, instead of protecting their workers, they shamed them and tarnished their reputations.
Oh, they did even more than that.
Well, do share.
So, one of the people that really led the charge initially on discovering that the USRC was full of crap was Dr. Harrison Martland. He was a pathologist who later played a crucial role in exposing the hazards of radium. And when he was exploring these women's symptoms, he found out that not only were they suffering from radiation when they were ingesting it, but that the ingested radium was constantly emitting radiation that was destroying their bones and tissues. And the USRC would just constantly say, no, that's not true, these are safe. Then, when they had one of their prime examples of lawsuits from Grace Fryer, and with all of her ample support of proof, evidence on how this is bad, and she went to law into court with these people, they said, oh, we have a lawsuit? Well, our lawyers are going to request a postponement because a lot of witnesses are currently vacationing in Europe.
I don't even think it. I know it. They were purposely extending how long this needed to take to basically let them die.
No, they were. They were doing it on purpose. They were very specifically doing delay tactics to have the women die out before the hearings would be completed.
Mm-hmm. So, in March 1924, the company initiated a covert internal investigation led by Harvard physician Cecil Drinker. The investigation, completed in June, concluded that radium exposure was likely the cause of the women's illnesses and recommended safety measures to protect their workers. However, the USRC president dismissed the findings, and the report was suppressed. Instead, the company submitted a fabricated report to the Labor Department, falsely claiming that the women's illnesses were not related to their work, and absolving the company of any responsibility.
Perfect. I mean, no. No.
Yeah.
No.
And this deception remained hidden until August of 1925. And again, I'm going to say this. Corporations are not our friends, and they never will be. The only thing they care about is making money, even at the expense of human lives. Which is why holding corporations accountable and regulating them is so important. I can't stress that enough. Many leading scientists in the field of radium research had financial stakes in radium companies, which influenced their reluctance to acknowledge the dangerous effects of radium. As early as 1914, researchers had known that radium could cause anemia and severe skin burns. During their legal proceedings, it was revealed that USRC scientists and management had taken significant precautions to protect themselves from radiation exposure, but did nothing to safeguard the dial painters working under dangerous conditions. By the mid-1920s, mounting medical evidence began to establish a clear link between radium exposure and jaw necrosis. Going back to what Allie was saying, the doctors who were really leading the way in this, their research was further corroborated by an autopsy of one of the deceased dial painters, Sarah Carlo Malefer, which helped confirm this connection that, radium's bad and it stays in your body and it continually, kills you. This pivotal work was one of the first to directly link the practice of dial painting to radium poisoning. And I do want to say thank you to those doctors who took their oaths seriously and protected people.
Thanks, fam.
Thanks. The radium, I know, I'm like, thanks, guys. I do need to shout out the good ones. There's a lot of bad ones, but do thanks.
sure.
Yeah, thanks to the good ones. The radium that the dial painters ingested became lodged basically in their bones, and it just accumulated over time. And that was, again, what Allie said, the constant source of ionizing radiation. We're finally getting to, the real legal battles here for these poor women. And again, it's now 1927. There's 5 surviving radium girls. Catherine Schaub, Grace Fryer, Quinta Magia McDonald, Albina Magia Larice, and Edna Hussman. They filed a lawsuit against their former employer, the United States Radium Corporation. It had taken them 2 years to find a lawyer brave enough to take on the powerful industrial radium complex. And again, I think this is a tactic we still see today. These really rich companies can wait these things out. They can pay whatever they want to pay because they have the money for it, and people don't.
Well, even better, she needed to ask her father, who was a union representative, to help her find a lawyer who would help them.
By the time the trial began in 1928, all 5 women were too ill to even raise their hands to take the oath. 2 of them were bedridden, and another could not sit up without the aid of a back brace. And just picturing this, it really breaks my heart, and it enrages me. This company knew radium was killing these women, but they put profits over the lives of their own workers.
Well, that was their first appearance. By the second time, they couldn't attend at all. None of them.
They were so sick, and again, fearing that they couldn't survive these lengthy proceedings, the women and their attorneys chose to settle the case out of court. In June of 1928, each woman was awarded $10,000 in damages and a lifetime annuity of $600 per year. Additionally, the company agreed to cover all their legal and medical expenses. However, the settlement came with one major caveat. The United States Radium Corporation was not required to take any legal responsibility for these women's illnesses. I'm just so mad. I'm so mad.
So they got paid out.
They got paid out,
but there was
and
no responsibility
nothing.
taken.
No.
They got the $600 a year for as long as they lived. And
AKA a year.
most of the
they weren't
women,
living long.
they didn't live long enough to collect their annual payments.
It's disgusting.
Oh my gosh.
So they got away basically scot-free. They, had to pay some money, but it's nothing to them. It doesn't affect them, basically. And it's really unsatisfying, and I hope it makes everybody upset.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and the sad part is, I can't even blame the girls for making that decision because they're probably looking at their life well, I want my family to at least have something.
Yeah.
And they knew they weren't going to survive.
They were very brave for this, and I'm sad this had to happen. They were literally falling apart, and they couldn't even really fight to get their real justice that they deserved.
They did, their entire legal battle, though, really helped change American labor law, though.
Unfortunately, with the loss of their lives, they did put up a fight, and some positives did come from this. The Radium Girls case was a turning point for workplace safety in the radium industry, and as a result of their struggle, practices like lip painting were eventually banned and protective equipment was introduced for workers. So, though radium continued to be used in luminous dials until the 1960s, might I add, these crucial changes ensured that no further cases of radium poisoning were reported among dial painters. Today, radium is no longer used in modern luminescent watches, thanks to the availability of safer alternatives. The widespread media coverage of the 1928 case, along with similar lawsuits in Ottawa and Waterbury in the 1930s, raised public awareness about the dangers of radium. This led to stricter regulations on commercial radium products and recognized radium poisoning as a compensable occupational disease. And this just makes me wonder if there were other cases of corporations getting away with whatever immoral actions that they were doing and they just had enough money to cover it up.
Oh, most certainly. Most certainly. I would not doubt that.
Mm-hmm.
And not just then.
Yeah. And for decades, surviving dial painters were monitored and tested, helping to shape scientific understanding of the long-term effects of radium exposure.
Well, I was going to say real quick that Grace Fryer herself was kind of a primary example for that because she only worked at her job as a dial painter for maybe 3 years. And her symptoms for radiation poisoning cropped up 2 years after she had already left.
So she was a good example of them helping to shape that scientific understanding.
Exactly. Like she had all of the same things. She was losing teeth. She had a painful jaw. Her eyes were clouding. And that was literally 2 to 3 years that she was working in the factory.
I can't even. And the tragic deaths and suffering of the Radium Girls were entirely preventable. With just a few simple safety measures, their lives could have been spared. It's estimated that radium contributed to the deaths of 112 dial painters. Even now, the radium remains in their bones in the ground, continuing to glow beyond the grave. So, this was a lot. This was a heavy episode, I will say that. My heart goes out to these poor girls who needlessly suffered because of corporate greed and pure evil. I thank them for their non-consented contribution to science, and may their stories never be forgotten. May we continue to fight for workplace safety, regulations, and workers' rights in the future. We the people can make the change. It is many of us against the few of the corporations. Together, we can ensure the safety of ourselves, our family, friends, and fellow humans against the corrupt nature of the greedy, who only see us as expendable numbers. And with that, I want to thank my co-hosts and the audience for tuning in and listening to this harrowing tale of the Radium Girls. And again, thank you for listening. If there's any topics you'd like to see us covered in the future, you can always message us. Link is in the show notes. If you want to hear even more of our voices, you can listen to The Patient Files wherever you listen to a podcast, which is written and directed by our lovely boys, Dalton and Chris. If you want to hear more of Allie, you can go check out her on Wicked Encounters on YouTube and TikTok. And you can find more of me at Pink Possibly on YouTube. Thank you, everyone.